We are here to watch a casted game between SB Apache, who is Silver 3 at the moment, and Finn, who is playing as the Chinese on the north side. And here we have SB Apache, who's playing the English on the south side, and we can already see that this is a standard opening where the scout did a little bit of a roller skate maneuver. Is now going to go get more food. What we see out here is a standard opening from the French with 6 on food, and I'm guessing is going to go up to 3 on gold. Building a house with the villager on the gold, which is not really standard but seems to be okay. On the other hand, the Chinese has got a very tight opening. I'm guessing this is one of the build order guides that he's been seeing. You can see that the villager makes village and is now standing idle for the next few seconds until he gets reassigned. Let's see, on to wood. Interesting. Now what is he planning to do with this wood? Meanwhile, we see out here SB Apache is picking up all of the sheep. Whereas, can we see the scout for Finn? Not really. Oh, he's out here picking up a few sheep as well. He's got 4 right now, whereas SB Apache has a nice lead of around 7. Just skirting outside the reach of the town center, and SB Apache deciding to use his bows against the scout, which is not really useful unless he is at really low health. You can see he lost around 14 health out there, but that's really not close to enough to taking out a scout. A few more sheep left on the map. Let's speed this up a little bit to see when SB Apache he's just run out of food. He decides to move on to the deer carcass. So one thing that the French must be careful about is when doing a full round of the scouting map like this. So if you look from SB Apache's perspective, he's decided to not come back, but he's decided to do almost an entire round. And when you do something of this sort, you're gonna run out of food on the main sheep around 2 minutes. And in that case, you have to make sure to push in this deer before you start scouting any further. So Hideout is a really good map because you get a secondary deer source very near to your food. Sorry, very near to your TC. Now moving to Finn on the other side, we can see he continues scouting with just 4 sheep. And he's moved on to gold and is now dropping the Barbican of the Sun now down on the stone. Also with a single villager and now with 2 villagers, so that shows us that he's probably gonna go for, like, I'm guessing a second TC, because in this match it really doesn't make sense to create an outpost and fortify it. On this side we can see the council hall coming up. Now has SB Apache seen the Barbican of the Sun yet? Let's move into his perspective. And no, he's not scouted it out yet. He's got a lot of sheep out here, 13 to be precise, which should give him a good boost of food, even though English as general does not require a surplus of food. But in this case you can see that he's already moved on to farms, whereas he still has an entire deer of 350 plus another 50 here, so 400 of food, and that's enough time that his scout could have come back by now, but he hasn't decided to do that yet. Meanwhile, he is population cap for a second, but that is fine. We can see that Finn is already moving ahead with the villager count thanks to the... No, in this case he hasn't gone to the Song dynasty yet, so he does not get the special villager training time yet. As you can see, it's still 20 seconds until, give it a few seconds, and bam. As soon as the Song dynasty starts, you can see that the Chinese have faster village production. But so far you can see that SB Apache is already down like 2 villages, which means that his town center has been idle for a while. Some villagers doing long distance stone chopping, I'm not sure why. He has created a small group of longbowmen and hardened spearmen. Not sure what he's planning to do with these. He's also put in a vanguard men at arms, which is very interesting. Oh, he has been upgraded to men at... No, it's still vanguard men at arms. Oh, it has been upgraded to early men at arms. It's an unnecessary investment in this case for a single man at arm, which was rather expensive. He spent an additional amount of gold for upgrading it. Let's see if we can get some benefit from him. There is the gold, which is quite exposed, and also the food source out here. Thankfully the Chinese can just move back onto this food source, which is also very nearby. We see a villager try to create a wall in order to help with turtling, and all of the villagers get pulled back and idled. So that's 23 villagers idled, which is huge. Very well done so far. And the Chuknu are out. So the Chuknu deal very effectively with unarmored units. And especially in this, he's already reached critical mass and he'll be able to easily take out these longbows. So very well done. You can see that there were a couple of archery ranges out there which we used to great effect. And one thing which we can already see, meanwhile the Barbican is going to take out the scout because it was not... Now SB Apache knows about both the Imperial Academy and the Barbican. So you can also already see the destroyed value. So SB Apache has done great by killing up 2 villager kills, which are gonna easily compensate for the destroyed value difference. But this was not a very effective trade for SB Apache. He lost around 900 resources worth, while Finn lost only about 580. So overall this was advantageous for him. So long walls coming down now for SB Apache. Now how could SB Apache have done better out here? One interesting thing he could have done is created an outpost here and use that to increase the attack speed of his army. Along with that, he would have been able to prevent this outpost from coming up. Oh, and we also see a second attack by SB Apache, very successful. 5 villager kills so far, but once again getting destroyed by the Chuknu. So in this case, if he had an outpost here with the additional defense gotten from the outpost, he would have been able to take out this Chuknu mass. So once again, a very unfavorable trade for SB Apache. Yes, he did kill 4 more villagers, which is really nice, but he cannot prevent the Chinese from turtling, which is a bit of a problem. Now he's building this white tower at a rather interesting position. I would have put it around here because there is a lot of extra distance out here and it doesn't really help against the Chinese much. I don't see anyone actually coming to build this because... Is it these villagers? Yes. These villagers were told to build a second gate and then go over. Once again, I see this SB Apache loves to build a bunch of outposts which are not upgraded. I'm not sure why. So, at this point the Chinese is on an equivalent of 1.5 town centers, but he has not been able to build up a significant villager lead yet. On the other hand, the English is on a single TC and pumping out villages, which is rather nice. And they have about similar military value out here. So you can see the army value is actually much higher for SB Apache, even though they have a similar count. And that's because the Chinese are basically just... Oh no. And that's 5 villagers lost for SB Apache, who were sent without any protection to build this white tower. Now that is not something you should do. You could see that the Chinese might be able to easily spot this out, and yeah, you have Jugno on the field. Now Finn, we can see, is a silver 1 player. He is not attacking with these Yugunu, which we could have created a ram and easily taken down this line of outposts. I don't know why SB Apache continues to build this line of outposts. I've seen it in previous games as well. And you see out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outposts, which would have been equal. So that's 500 wood, which could have gone into making 10 crossbows, which with a single outpost out here could have easily taken out 14 Jugnu. Now instead of using his military advantage, SB Apache decides to instead waste it on outposts, which I'm not sure what exactly it does because there is no attacks from this side. You can see that Green himself has walled this out and all of his armies on this side. So a bit of better scouting from SB Apache would help him to deal with this. Now what about upgrades? We can see that SB Apache has got he's got all of his economic upgrades, I think. Yes, which is rather nice because they play themselves off rather quickly, and he's on 2 TC, but he's not training villages from them. So even though he has more town centers effectively than the Chinese, so the Chinese is on 1.5, 1.3 TCs, whereas the English is on 2. But you can see that one of his TCs is entirely idle, while the other one has been tasked with building around 20 villages. So how do you deal with this? One, you can bind all of your town centers onto the same hotkey so that when you press that hotkey, instead of selecting a single town center, so H, which is normally the hotkey, you can rebind it to select both town centers. So let's pause for a single second here, go into settings and show you what I'm talking about. So here we can come to the control, view and remap control, building selection, and you can see out here. You can say cycle through town centers as being H, or select all town centers, which can also be used instead. So me personally, I prefer to have H for select all town centers, which means that anytime I press H and multiple times press Q, it queues up villages in all of the town centers instead of just the primary town center. So you can see out here that the wall is starting to build up, and SB Apache has built up a mangonel, which is very good against the Jugnu, and a battering ram for breaking down the wall. So very good, well done, except that right now this is where the influence of the White Tower stops. And you know that within this influence, like with all towers, the English get a massive the networks of castle bonus, which allows defensive units and defensive buildings to fire faster. So SB Apache, instead of building a ton of outposts here, should have spent a little more wood to actually build outposts here instead. And the wall has been broken, and he's not attacking. So he's allowing the Chinese to turtle. Meanwhile, he's figured out that both of his TCs need to be used, and so the Chinese have moved on to palace guards. Now the English can deal with palace guards very effectively because they have got the crossbows, which can come out from both the White Tower as well as the archery range. And he's got walls up on both sides, so that's very well done. He's going on to mine the stone, which is also very nicely done. And here we can see that the English are trying to move into a death push, building up a ram. Meanwhile, the Chinese still has a military advantage, and you can see out here that it's a mix of palace guards and veteran Jugnu. So the Jugnu are countered very well by the mangonels, which we have here, and the nest of bees should be countered by the spring guard. However, there's not much to actually counter the palace guards, who are like armored men-at-arms units. Also, we can see that now there are 2 clockwork nest of bees, but the English has no idea because he's got no scouting information. We can see from his perspective that he's sitting in the blind. Also, he's not trying to protect his units out here, and the battering rams are sitting idle. Oh, meanwhile, the English has built up a huge lead, particularly I guess because the Chinese town center is probably idle. Yes. And finally coming forward. Ooh. So the English should now recognize that there are nest of bees are a big problem, and he just lost 750 worth of battering rams. 750 wood worth of battering rams. However, the Chinese also has a massive military lead but has forgotten to make any more villagers. Meanwhile, we see that SB Apache is pumping out villagers and he has a significant eco lead. So you can see that he's taking around 1300 plus 1000, so around 2300 plus 900, 3200, around 3500 worth of resources a minute, whereas the China is only at around 3000 resources a minute. So he needs to start spending this resource. So particularly he's got an excess of food, so he needs to reallocate some of his people from food onto something else. But we can see that he's actually adding in more farms. So he's gonna start fall short of a secondary resource. So what do I mean? All of his veteran spearmen and his men-at-arms need not only food but also a secondary resource, so which is wood in this case and gold in this case. And he doesn't have enough of those to actually pump out more production. Meanwhile, he's built up a good amount of military, so what he could do out now is build a little wall out here of stone, and what that would do is actually prevent springles from firing over it. So he could protect all of his siege from springles and potential run-throughs even. However, at this point you can see there's a lot of oof, and they just get destroyed. So the springles need to be firing first. Oh. And some of the siege does make it back, which is very nice. But you can see out here how SB Apache would have gained significantly if he made a little wall out here and out here in order to protect the rest of his siege. But at this point he's got like 21 military compared to 72 for the Chinese. And not because of a lack of resources in either. But he's not using his food resources. So he should either... On the other side we see that the Chinese is a normal silver 1 as well. He's stacking up a shit ton of resources and not using them either. So with this amount of gold you should be able to send like 3-4 siege workshops, bring out a lot more nest of bees, and then just roll over the English player, because at this point he doesn't have much either. On this side, SB Apache seems, let's move on to number of people. He's got 20 villagers on gold. Let's see if he can try and find them. Oh, they are up front, which is very nice, mining out this gold before going to the gold back home. That's very well done. You could actually use these villagers to burn through the gate out here and try to take this gold out here, but in this case we see China already has a second town center. In fact, China has really started to rebuild his economy. He's catching up with the English in this case. Oh, meanwhile he's going for the Great Wall Gatehouse, which means that this entire region will be denied for the English. Now this is very easy, yes, exactly. So you get the mangonel to actually fire on the villagers instead of the Great Wall Gatehouse. Come on, fire on the villagers and it's... no, and everything will die out here. Oh my god. Oh, very nicely done. That was exactly the wall we needed, but it was a bit too late. And you can see how everyone is going to just die. Oh my god. So you can see the range of the Great Wall Gatehouse is actually quite significant, but trebuchets can fire over it. So SB Apache should reset his rally point, which seems to be somewhere outside. But he doesn't have much infantry. He needs infantry in order to break this. So build a second wall out here now that the Great Wall Gatehouse is down. Add a second layer of wall, and then you can bring the trebuchets forward and take out these outposts. And slowly start to work down this production behind. So does China have springles out here? No, not a single springle. So these should be fine. SB Apache, we can see, has 6 trebuchets, so they could be firing down on the wall on the side as well. Or you bring them down here and they start focusing on this part of the wall so you can have more of an attack surface. Meanwhile, the Berkshire Palace is coming up, which is very nice, which would allow him to extend the wall and get more gold out here, denying it from the Chinese. So now we can see that the Chinese have run out of gold. But on this side, they is trying to attack with a few fire lancers, and for once the outposts are really coming in handy. Building an emergency wall out here, very well done. Exactly what he needs. Very nice value from the outposts. However, China getting quite a few villager kills out here, bringing the villager count almost back to equal. And SB Apache has stopped making villagers out here, which is rather sad. So in this case, take all of these counterweight trebuchets and start attacking something on the side as well, not just this Great Wall Gatehouse, because it's done. Every time you hit a shot, it brings it down to 0, but not any more than that, and it does not help you advance. You need to start taking out the walls on the side, somewhere out here as well. Meanwhile, the bombards from China have been able to break down the wall out here. Yes, finally SB Apache has brought his trebuchets forward. But now the bombards are in, and now the springles are right here. You could snipe these out through this hole. And now the trebuchets are idle because they have nothing to attack. Finally, the wall on the side has been broken. So there are 6 nests of bees here, whereas SB Apache has a very light unarmored composition, which means he really needs to make these springles work for him. But he needs a wider attack surface. This tiny choke point is not going to help him. Meanwhile, these guys are rather close to chopping through, so SB Apache, if he wanted now, could actually have gone for a chop through and attack directly China's economy instead of trying to go around the side. Not sure why the counterweight trebuchet needs to come forward. But out here, SB Apache needs to increase his wall. He needs to drive his wall forward so that these counterweight trebuchets are safe. Oh, and he triggered the army. He needs to attack the keep. Can he see the keep? Oh no. Just attack this wall. Just attack this wall on the side. Come on. Meanwhile, China is doing what it does best and is turtling. And both of them are almost at 200 pop, but SB Apache has a slight villager lead. But he also has a lot of siege, which could be useful for slowly moving the base forward. He has around 400 stone and has started trade, which is very nice, but only to a trade market out here. Now he could easily move the market up here and retarget all of these for a much better trade. So he's getting only 37 per trader. Actually only 18 per trader. Now that is terrible. That is terrible. He could have just brought it down here and it would be 4 times the amount. Meanwhile on this side, Fire Lance is still trying to make it through, taking out a few outposts, but otherwise not achieving much because now SB Apache is well protected by a stone wall. Oh, and he's gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 outposts. Ouch. Okay, at least it should protect him against further Fire Lancer raids. He's still trying desperately to break through this side, but I'm not sure what he's actually trying to do. What is the goal out here? Oh, he's finally attacking on this side. Good. So he's finally trying to take down more of the stone wall. But he can also see the keep, so he should bring all six forward together, and in 2 shots this keep would be down. That's it. We can hear some market trading happening, I think. Let's see. Yes, a lot of market trading going on. Wood and food being sold in order to get more gold. So we can see SB Apache has finally figured out that he has a problem with gold and has taken this gold mine. Now, what about relics? Have all the relics been captured? Let's see. Oh, SB Apache has taken 2 relics, whereas China has taken none. So there should be more relics on the map, right? Or maybe not. I guess I now understand why Drongo says he's legally blind. It's really hard to spot these on the map sometimes. And SB Apache has taken the sacred site, and he might be moving to take the second sacred site. And China's decided to attack on the other side. Ooh, with a lot of elite Fire Lances. Now this is a death push if I've ever seen one. Good thing SB Apache has a keep out here to somewhat protect his line out here. Now he needs to garrison a lot of villagers. Oh, and you can see the villager death scarred at. Now SB Apache finally realizes. But is it too little too late? He decides to attack on the other side, but without taking out the nest of bees, which means... Oh no, he is focusing down... No, 6 nest of bees remain. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. And the outposts get taken out. But SB Apache is finally in on this side, but he doesn't have anything to deal with the nest of bees. Keep about to go down, and he loses a bombard on this side. He's trying to take out the nest of bees. Well done. Use the Springer, come on. But there's now 13 Fire Lancers in the base, and this wall has not been remade. All he needed to do was create a few knights from here and send them out to meet the Fire Lancers, and he would have been fine. Sorry, meet the bombards. Now these bombards are unprotected, except for maybe the outpost, which does not have cannon slits or arrow emplacements. So these things are unprotected. A couple of knights could have taken them out. Meanwhile, there's pressure on his base, and China's on 170 population with like 52 army, whereas SB Apache is really bleeding out here. You can see the destroyed value, like China has destroyed 50,000 worth of resources, whereas SB Apache has destroyed around 30,000. So he's taking very unfortunate trades. Now China could have gone for a lot more villager kills. Where are all of SB Apache's villages? We see that they are, oh, in the front out here. Very nicely done, because now they are away from this problem out here at home. Ooh. So you can see how the fire lances get absolutely destroyed by boiling oil, but also by keeps. So SB Apache is down to 44 villages and he's in dire trouble. He needs to really start pumping out the villages now. But he's out of food and he cannot do so anymore, and his villages are idle here, and I think that's GG. He wasn't able to take out these nest of bees and apply any pressure on that side, and now all of his siege goes down because he doesn't have a front line and he's just sending them out. And he's not even making any more villages in order to fix this, so I think that's GG, I guess. Like, China's really in a good position. It's maxed out, whereas SB Apache is on 77 villagers. But SB Apache is still making trebuchets, I guess. Yes, this is what SB Apache needs. Perfect. He just needs to snipe out the trebuchets and return back. And meanwhile at home he needs to rebuild his economy and he needs to close this wall, which he has done. So what's China doing out here? So you can see how much resources China has got right now. He hasn't started trading yet. Oh, he has started trading. Where are the traders going to? Oh, a very suboptimal market out here. This market could at least have been placed out here in the corner for much better trades. Even SB Apache on his side has got a market out here, which is about mid-map, so it brings in slightly better gold than before. So let's see, 32 instead of 18, so not bad, but could be a lot better if it was out here. So SB Apache basically lost his winning position, and now China has figured out that the winning condition is essentially fire lances, and that's perfectly legitimate. They can, at this number, they can basically run over anything because SB Apache has no defense. He just runs past everything, losing only a couple of fire lances, and that's it for the... He's trying to go for a landmark snipe, and yeah, I think this keep will not survive much longer. There goes the keep. Now these are also elite fire lancers, and he's taken +3 range like armor, so he's not getting hurt by arrows either. And that's 2 landmarks down. The third one is still alive out here and the fourth one out here, but he's down to 45 villagers and his TC is dead, so SB Apache is really in a bad position. He's managed to close the gap. There's a few villagers stuck inside, but he has nothing to deal with this massive horde of 27 fairly fire lancers, and all of his houses are coming down, all of his base is gone basically. He can still rebuild out here, but he needs to take stone and create a new couple of town centers, maybe 3 town centers, and then try to rebuild, but at this point it's too late. He has a bit of food in the bank, but that's not gonna be enough. He's making a mangonel. I'm not sure what help that's gonna be. And that's about it. A single leak and a few hundred and a few tens of fire lancers is all it takes. I believe this is GG because, yeah, SB Apache can't make any more units. He's stuck at 75 pop. China trying to make a forward base in SB Apache's base. And watch the villagers getting destroyed on both sides. 88 villager kills for China. Meanwhile, very long distance chopping going out here. Just a little bit of production, but still not really much. You can see that China's got a lot more production and a solid economy, which SB Apache was never really able to touch. More elite knights coming out for SB Apache. But he needs a new town center because he's out of villagers and he's not producing villagers from anywhere. I think the game is now just over and China should just bring forward the bombards and try to finish out this keep. So SB Apache finally getting the right idea, trying to do a run through, but well, at this point there are like 3 keeps on this side and that's just not gonna happen. So the farms are very well protected. Now this side is also well protected with a keep out here, so yeah. Oh, the bombards have arrived. So this part has entirely been cleared out. SB Apache does have nothing else on this side. And the horsemen are trying to go for the white tower, I guess. You can see how much damage this white tower does. Like that was 50 fire lancers just cleaned up. And if not for these siege, that white tower would have stood. So it's that easy to clean up fire lancers. You just need a keep or something. But at this point, that's another landmark down, and SB Apache is out of wood, so he can't repair it either. He's trying to build up a new life out here, but also he's got no more villagers. He has no way of creating a new town center. And this relic was probably... was it taken sometime? Yes, it was definitely taken and it's now gone. So at this point, we can see that Finn has 27 fire lancers in the queue. So as soon as his fire lancers get killed, they just get replaced instantly. And Finn is just trying to get those charges out on the fire lancers. And that's it, just a single white tower able to take out 50 more fire lancers. Once again. This is an amazingly powerful landmark. But Finn of course has an X-ray wave ready. He's got 60 more fire lancers to throw away. He's got an echo behind this which is pumping, and he's just able to take these fights forever and ever and ever. And when he focuses it down, the white tower is gone again. So SB Apache with 17 villagers is trying to make a very valiant comeback, but at this point, yeah, it's just G, good game. He does prevent the keep from coming up, but how long is it before the next round of villagers arrive? Yep, that's it. So good game from SB Apache, but unfortunately too little too late.